There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I'm going to call our meeting to order. This is the meeting of the Town Center Committee being held on September the 29th, 2023, in the Matthew Thornton Meeting Room in the Town Hall. We seem to be short a couple of members. They didn't say they weren't coming, but we're going to start the meeting a little bit late so that we can get through our business. And we have some special guests today that I will introduce in a moment. They are representing the Merrimack Historical Society. And they have expressed an interest in what we're doing and what we're about to do. And what I was hoping would be the first thing on the agenda is a discussion headed by Dawn Tuamala. She left us some material here, and unfortunately, she's not here. So, but we'll go ahead with what business we can get done. Nick LaValle has just joined us, and so without further ado, I will introduce our guests. John Listowka is the chairman of the Merrimack Historical Society, and his helpers, Chuck Moore and Pat Heinrich, are with us also representing the committee. John, maybe you could start off by explaining your interest, or your committee's interest, I should say, in what the Town Center Committee is up to. And we've had some discussion of this, but I think the others need to be brought up to speed. So, thank you. Go right ahead. I turn turn your microphones on by pressing the little button, and the green light should come on, and that will let you be recorded on for the Town Center. Yeah.
Thank you, Nelson.
All right.
My name is John Listowka, and I'm the president of the Merrimack Historical Society. And our interest is preserving, saving, and telling Merrimack's rich history. So our society's been around for since the 1970s, and it's gone through a lot of different presidents, transitions, and everyone has done wonderful things in the past. So the reason I'm here today is to talk about the Stone Arch Bridge we have here in Merrimack, the John Chamberlain Bridge. And in our society, 2 years ago, started to do video documentaries. And being new to the historical society, we were hunting for really good stories to tell that are important to the town. And the Town Center Committee is really important to what we're trying to do. So we work closely with Merrimack TV, and they kind of guide us. They don't do the video shooting or editing, but they kind of guide us through what we do. So one of our charges, this is probably a year and a half into our video documentaries.
Dawn, help. Town Center Committee. Bye. Okay,
So
sorry. I'm trying to reach her by phone. She should hear all of this. Yeah.
yeah, so what we've done is trying to pick out history that's important to the town of Merrimack and its citizens. And I've lived in town. My family's been living in town since 1910. So we've been through all the growth and challenges that the town has over the years. Um, we're we're now we're now working closely with other historical societies: Nashua, Milford, Hudson, Litchfield, Mount Vernon, New Boston, just to mention some of a few of them. And a lot of these towns, they don't have a town center either. So we're not the only town in New Hampshire that doesn't have a town center. Milford does. Milford's got a town center. They got the Oval, the town halls all around it, and they capitalize on that and have a lot of events like pumpkin festivals and all this type of stuff. But Milford also has a very active historical society, and we chat with them quite a bit, along with Nashua and the others. So the point I'm making is that if we do manage to get a beautiful town center here with a trail under the bridge to Wildcat Falls, tie in trails to the Sauhegan River, be able to cross over Babusick Brook, these are all wonderful things. But what we really need to make this work is a good history of the town of Merrimack. Where do we come from? How do we get here? Who did it? What's important? And after being president for 3 or 4 years and working with a fine group of people, we're uncovering some great stories. Right from the day Merrimack was founded. It was part of Dunstable, and then 4 villages, and then it became the town of Merrimack. And when the 4 villages became the town of Merrimack, there was no town center. We had little town centers in South Merrimack, little something in Reed's Ferry, but we don't have an identity. And I think what you folks are doing is absolutely wonderful. So I've been talking with Kyle Fox 2 or 3 years ago about this, and I approached Paul McCallie a couple of weeks ago. And I said, Paul, Kyle gave me a document about produced by, let me see, I have it right here. It was produced by the New Hampshire Division of Historical Resources, and what they do is, before big projects like this have done, they do research through independent organizations, and they come up with a history of the bridge, so the people doing the work understand it, and the town is okays what they're going to do, if you destroy something. So that's a little bit of the background about why why I'm here today. All of us are here. This documentary is like 40-something pages, and Dawn has it, and it's quite detailed, and it gives a lot of history about where the John Chamberlain Bridge was, and it's and how it got built and when it got built. So with this, and it was built actually in 1921. It was built by Lovejoy Granite Company in Milford, after a little bit of research. And Lovejoy Granite Company also built the Pine Valley Stone Arch Bridge in Milford, between Milford and Wilton. And they built that bridge in 1917, and ours was built in 1921. Very similar structure, both dual arch bridges, although different sizes because the width of the river. But that was all interesting. So our connection with Milford, in one of our our videos, we thought we would do, and this is something no other historical societies are doing, is actually do a common piece of history between neighboring towns. So our goal with the Historical Society is to, our first one is Milford, and a common piece of history with Milford. And what is it? It's our John Chamberlain Bridge. So, so we've been videotaping for a few weeks up in Milford, here, and other places on the river to document the history of the John Chamberlain Stone Arch Bridge and our connection to Milford and Merrimack. Our goal is to have these documentaries played on our Merrimack TV, which we do all the time, thanks to Nicholas and his team. And but we also want to have our history played in Milford, and hopefully we break the mold of historical societies living in their own little bubble. There's a lot of history between towns. We all survived together, grew up together, and this is something people don't really think of. So this is our little idea to try and bring two communities a little closer together. So excuse me.
John, what you're saying is very important and very interesting to this committee. I have to apologize to you for the fact that Dawn isn't here to hear this, because I think it ties in with what she's done and was supposed to be presenting to us today. I just tried to call her and there's no answer there except an answering machine.
Dawn sent an email this morning. She also stopped by my office. She dropped something off. She dropped
Yes,
off
she
a
dropped
packet.
off a bunch of interesting material here.
Yeah. But she did send an email to the committee this morning saying that she was not going to be able to make it today.
Well, I guess I haven't looked carefully at my email, or I didn't get it in time.
She sent it to you and I.
What time?
11:17.
Well, yeah,
And she stopped by
11:17. It's almost this afternoon. And we've got all these people here, and she should be hearing this. And I know she has a collection of photographs of the old mills that were on the site of the Watson Park and where the sluiceway was fed and everything. And I think she needs to hear this, and we all need to hear it. But I'm sorry that this has happened. This is not something I planned. But anyway, I just didn't want you to go through all this again.
We
But-
can.
But I think she needs to hear it as well as the committee. Do you have more things that we can talk about than like kind of bring it to a head here?
I can.
Yeah.
can.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you, John. I apologize. I don't know what's come up that's
Yeah.
yeah.
And
So
the meeting is also being recorded, so anyone who does want to see it will be able to see the meeting too.
Yes, but there can't be an interchange.
I
Because I
understand.
wanted her to talk about the pictures she has and get a way of putting you together with her to show you the pictures that were given to us. There was an historical study done as part of this construction of the new trail. And in fact, one of the things we were going to talk about today, if John was here, is what we're doing for a groundbreaking for this new trail, which is supposed to happen in the month of October, which is almost now. And I don't know what's
That
going
that date's been set for the Sauhegan Trail.
what.
The Sauhegan Trail.
Yeah.
That date's set. It should be in the packet. I was told it's November
It's in
3rd.
the memo there, Nelson,
Oh,
and
okay.
it has it on item 4B. It says,
Friday, November 3rd at 10 a.m.
right.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So we've got a little time left
Sure.
to go back over this. So I'm glad that's there, that she at least addressed that. And so, okay, I hadn't read my stuff because it was here, and I hadn't seen it before. But so November 4th will be the groundbreaking, and we want everybody to know about
Third-
that.
Friday the 3rd.
Pardon?
Friday, November 3rd, 10 a.m.
Thank you.
No problem.
Where did I put- oh, here's my pen. Okay, John, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I know that she should hear this. What I'll try to do is schedule another meeting of the committee sometime in October when we can talk about the groundbreaking and who's going to do what. But that was why I wanted you to come to this meeting, because I thought we were going to be talking groundbreaking.
Right, well, I won't go any further with these explanations, but I do have a request.
Yes.
And the request is, we would like to document the progress of this construction.
Yeah.
And we need to know ahead of time. And we'd like to interview maybe the contractor, folks on this board, to be part of a story of the town center, a historic document. All of our videos that we do are actually archived with Merrimack TV, and they're also at our museum on 10 Depot Street. So I think it's really important that you folks know what we would like to do, but it takes a lot of time to videotape, and then editing and putting a video together. But we need to be prepared up front so we can get people in place to video, to do audio, to set up a time to meet with whoever's going to be in the video. So that's kind of what we're here for. And I was prepared to show you folks a 7-minute clip regarding a photographer that has documented every Stone Arch Bridge in the state. His name is Arthur F. Rounds. And we've been working with him on this dual video. We've been doing this for almost a month. So I gave the video to Nick, and they loaded it on this laptop. And would it be okay if I play that so you can see what we're doing?
Would the committee like to hear that and see that? While you've got it here, you've gone to the trouble, and I'm sorry for this sudden change in
No, well,
plan here. But
we're here today, and I think
let's do it.
it's being recorded, and if someone wants to see this after, and I'm hoping it excites the people in town to see what we're doing.
Yes.
You can have a town center, but without the heart and the history of how and why we're here, the town center's just another structure. But you need, how did this all happen? So I'm going to show you a short video that we did to introduce Arthur F. Rounds, who is a professional photographer that has shot video, photos of all the covered bridges in the state and the Stone Arch bridges. So this
Great.
is Arthur F. Rounds.
Arthur F. Rounds, A Quest for Stone Arch Bridges. This is a portrait of a man who has spent his life in professional photography, capturing wild birds, capturing landscapes, capturing historic preservation, covered bridges, and now completing his gallery of all the remaining Stone Arch bridges in the Granite State.
So now I'm speaking with Arthur Rounds, who is an accomplished photographer. He's done a lot of work in New Hampshire. He's photographed wildflowers. He's photographed covered bridges, and his project now is he photographs stone arch bridges. So tell me a little bit about this project.
Well, Wendy, I tend to get involved in long-term projects when for my own personal photography. And I started photographing stone arch bridges last September. And there are 53 stone arch bridges in New Hampshire. I have 4 left to photograph, which I hope to finish before snow flies. And then I'm going to present the bridges to the State Department of Transportation. Reason being that I photographed all of the covered bridges in New Hampshire in the late 1980s. And the Department of Transportation used them all in a book they published in 1994 of all the covered bridges in New Hampshire. So I'm hoping that they might be interested in the stone arch bridges as well.
Lovejoy Granite Company, dismantling the county bridge. There comes a time in the life of most things where they have to make way for the new. And such was the case with the old county bridge on the road to Wilton. And so stone came and laid upon stone to build the abutments and the foundations and the trusses to make the arches. And in 1917, the bridge was complete across the Souhegan River. And there it waited all these years for Arthur F. Rounds. These are the granite blocks that made the columns for the Treasury building in Washington, D.C. And that is why the new owners of the Lovejoy Quarry call it Stonehaven, the quarry on Treasury Hill. The new quarry is surrounded by the geometry of the waste stone here, there, and everywhere, fashioned into artistic pieces of sculpting. Simple tools could cut granite very easily, as is demonstrated here.
We just tap, tap, tap.
Henry David Thoreau said, "It's not what you look at that matters, it's what you see." Here at the Chamberlain Bridge in the central station of Merrimack, the magical water passes under the stone that was lifted from the earth, reaching up to the sky and creating the things that Arthur liked best. The Lovejoy Granite Company completed this bridge in 1921, the John Chamberlain Bridge, over which commerce and industry has passed all these years.
Well, I've just finished my 4-shot sequence, actually a 12-shot sequence. The sun is still in, and as it is, I can outline shoot with the sun up. And then I do my shooting, and I do that again and again and again to to do the whole shot. And then they're all processed in Photoshop, all stitched and blended together. And then once that's done, then I spend could be hours speeding this scene up. There might be a kind of a wet, ugly leaf on one of these rocks that catches your eye, and I don't want that to happen. So I go in and using various tools in Photoshop, I can blend that right into the rock and various things like that. So I could easily spend an hour and a half doing one shot.
The Souhegan River runs under the Pine Valley Bridge, a testament to stonemasons, so-called Pine Valley for the Pine Valley Mill. And here we see 7 keystones holding the great load. The Boston and Maine Railroad constructed this stone arch bridge in 1838. This is the overgrown jungle that Arthur Rounds is accustomed to penetrating in his pursuit of stone arch bridges. His friends at the Merrimack Historical Society brought him to see this new undiscovered stone arch bridge over Salmon Brook. When Thoreau was spending his week on the Merrimack River, he came to this bridge and remarked that now comes clear sailing.
Great. Yeah, that's impressive.
So this is what we're proposing to do. When we first started, we were not experienced. You know, we're all hobby people that just took photos or videos, family stuff. But we've kicked it up a notch, as Emerald would say, Emerald Lagasse. And so we're trying to tell really a story that'll last well beyond us. So that's what we plan on doing, and we'd love to be partnering with you folks and be able to document this construction and the reasons why. And one last thing is the stone arch bridges, they exist today. The last one you saw was over Salmon Brook down by the old improved machinery or the Nashua wastewater treatment, and there's a big bus parking lot, huge bus parking lot. That's where it is. It was built there in, I think, 1835. Is that correct, Chuck? 1838. And there's been no repairs to it. It's been there since that time. And it's handled all the traffic from B&M for all those years, and it's being used today. That's that last bridge you saw. So when people today drive over the bridges, whether you're going over Milford into Wilton or Milford in the traffic circle here over the Chamberlain Bridge, you don't see the Stone Arch Bridge. No one, it's a bridge they don't see. That's why it's important to give them a little bit of history, and so they can appreciate the Stone Arch bridges. So the one in Milford is still standing. It's beautiful.
Where is it? Can you tell me where it is?
Again, when you're going through Milford, and if you're on the bypass and you're coming from north, you're going north on the bypass, you go around Milford, and you go past Milford Courthouse. It'll be on your left. Go a little further to the intersection where you can take a left and go to Peterborough, or you can take a right and go into Milford. You take a left and go into Peterborough, And as you're going on that straightaway, you would have passed the old foundation where the green arch bridge was in Milford. They tore it down years ago. And that was built after this one.
That was a steel bridge?
Yeah, there was a steel bridge, a steel green bridge.
Okay. I remember when they took that down. That wasn't that many years ago.
Yeah, they did. So, but you keep going straight, and then
Like
as
straight,
you
going
do,
toward Wilton?
straight towards Wilton, north towards Wilton, and when you get there, you can take a left and follow the edge of the river, the Souhegan, up into Peterborough, or you can go straight onto Main Street in Wilton. That little thing. That bridge you cross is that one we're talking about. And you don't know it's there.
Well, no, I guess I don't. I still don't know where it is.
But you could see TD Bank in a couple of your photos,
Yeah,
and it's just beyond TD Bank, heading west on 101.
that's right.
Okay, we're getting on 101. That helps me.
There's railroad tracks, aren't there?
There's railroad tracks
Is it
there,
before or
yeah.
after the bridge? It's right
It's
there,
before the bridge.
before the bridge, heading west. And so just over those railroad tracks, that's where that bridge is, if I saw correctly.
So, do you know
Gotta go
where
for a ride now.
Hitchner's is? Hitchner Manufacturing in Milford.
Yeah, I know where that is.
Okay, so if you're at Hitchner's
Yeah,
and you're going along the bypass, there's a bypass around Milford, there's Chapel Tractor, or just off the bypass. You keep coming north, go around, and you cross over the railroad tracks, and then I think it's 101 or whatever. If you take a right, you go straight into Milford by Tractor Supply, Agway, and all that. But
I know where the
think of Wilton. Just think of Wilton.
Yeah.
You're heading north out of Milford, and you go straight into Milford, and you cross over the Souhegan River. Or you can take a left where TD Bank is and veer off towards Peterborough. Well, you go into Wilton on Main Street, that's where the bridge is.
It's
I
on
don't have
Main
Google
Street in
Maps.
Wilton?
No, you stay on 101. And the bypass is actually a westerly thing, but it comes in in a northerly direction, but it's 101 west, the bypass. Take a left,
Yeah.
and it's down 3/4 of a mile, maybe a mile. I'm not
I
sure.
didn't know it crossed the Souhegan River there.
Yeah, well, there's a dam. If you continue west on 101, there's the dam on the river on the right, on your right
That's
side
in
now.
Wilton. The
Right,
dam's
and this
in
is just
Wilton.
before that.
Okay, there's another bridge there that I,
Didn't even know. That's what he said. You cross them all the time. You never get to see them.
Yeah.
It is,
yeah.
in fact, Arthur Rounds crossed the bridge off the Oval in Milford, and there was another small stone arch bridge. He says, I'm photographing all these. I didn't know they had another stone arch bridge until he got on the river. So that's the point of all this, is to educate you folks what's going on.
Exactly.
And the most important thing about stone arch bridges to a taxpayer's budget is no repairs.
I'm
All right.
amazed at how long they've lasted without.
And they're just as good today
Yeah,
as when they built them.
yeah.
You know, and
Nelson, I
it's-
just wanted to say a couple things if I could.
I wish you would.
Sure. So my staff and I, we've committed ourselves for months now that we will cover the entirety of whatever the groundbreaking ceremony is, and we planned on creating a short form Merrimack moment about the Souhegan River Trail. That was our plan.
Yeah.
I think we have what we'd like to call a community partnership with the Historical Society. They participate using our community channel, not unlike other nonprofit groups that serve Merrimack do, and residents do as well. What John and his team at the Historical Society have done with Chuck Mower as well, and a number of others, is really kind of exemplary of what we'd like to see residents and nonprofit groups in Merrimack take advantage of the resources that we have to offer. So what John and his team has done the past year and a half or 2 years now is excellent. I think this committee would be foolish not to welcome John and the Historical Society to produce a longer form historical segment, not unlike the video we just watched today, about the Souhegan River Trail.
Yeah.
It'll be great content for the channel, the community channel, and the Merrimack TV app as well.
Yeah.
So if John is simply looking for, a thumbs up or support and encouragement, he's got it from me.
Yeah.
And I hope he has it from the rest of the
Yeah.
committee. And I don't think what John and his team would do would interfere with what the town is already doing. I would just think it would enhance what we're doing. And we want more content. We want nonprofit groups and residents to take advantage of the resources that are here and encourage people like John to produce content for Merrimack TV. So this video is awesome.
Yeah.
It's great.
It really was very well done. And thank you for those comments for the record, Nick. I think you captured the sentiment of the committee, but anybody else have thoughts on this? Finley, how does the council feel about all
Well,
this?
we haven't actually had a conversation directly about it, but I would say my sense is that the council, when it comes to this type of thing, would be supportive.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's most of us are into Merrimack history and appreciate it. And this just helps enhance our appreciation, I suppose. They do a wonderful job.
Yeah.
No, I would agree. I think it'd be, it's a wonderful idea to do a video of the project and the bridge.
Yeah. Yeah, and this guy did a good job with the video. I had a little trouble hearing, but maybe that's me. But it's very good cinematography. It got good pictures and that sort of thing. And I especially liked the one, they didn't say much about it, but they didn't go into it, the construction of the false work that's necessary to build a stone arch bridge. They showed some pictures of it there, but I think that's part of your history that you want to, why those bridges last so long. It's just gravity, working
Right.
with gravity and stone.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here, John? Or where would you like us to go from here?
Well, I'd just like you're okay to be on site interviewing people that, like if Dawn was here, she could explain the project.
Yeah.
And then even interview maybe some of the contractors, they'd be able to get down and take photos and videos of that, through the process. We take a lot of photos in video, and we only use small pieces of it to tell our story.
Yeah.
And we're trying to get to tell our story better.
Yeah.
So, but one thing when you stopped me earlier on, I was going to mention what we've been doing with a school district over the past 2 years. And I think this is really, really important for you folks to hear, is that we've approached Bill Olson, Matt Chevenel, on doing ELOs, extended learning opportunities, off campus to be able to get credits, working out of our new home on 10 Depot Street. And over the past 2 years, we've changed what it was before. We have a whole new business organization, but we are high tech there. We have facilities that equal what's in this place and other large businesses. We have high-speed internet. We have local area network, Wi-Fi 6, which is just new, out and coming. We have a 4K TV. We have Mac Pro computers that will that allow us to do video editing, just like we showed you. It's a lot of work, and there's a lot of technical things. But we thought teaming up with a school district, we brought this up to them a couple of years ago. And it takes a while for things to happen, but they hired a new ELO director, and I talked to him a couple of days ago. And he's coming to our site to look it over next week, and we're gonna chat about how we can make all this happen. So I think it's good for the community. This is what we're looking to do. We're gonna be changing our mission and vision statements to involve this stuff. Now, again, we're a new society. Well, it's the same society, but we're doing different things, and it's high tech, and we hope we can get younger folks to be able to come in and do what we're doing, or have it, or even do it better. But we want to give them a vehicle to do that. That's what it is. And at our meetings, and Nelson's been part of it. I take my cell phone out and I go, if we don't play in their playground, they're not going to play with us. So a lot of senior citizens don't take well to change and new technology. It's here. This is never going away. And by the way, that video and all the photos and all the audio you saw were filmed with this phone. What you saw was in 4K. It's not high def. It's a lot better resolution. So everything we're doing, we're taking to the next step. We're not going backwards. So that's all.
Great. John, I didn't mean to cut you off completely because I wasn't sure where you were going.
Yeah.
And if I cut you off from something you'd like to say to this committee, you have the floor again if you wish. I don't mean to cut you off. I wanted to hear what you had to say, and I appreciate your coming here to inform us. I apologize again for the absence of members that aren't here.
That's okay. And I shouldn't have used cut off. I should have said paused.
Pause. Just pause. Yeah. Yeah. What I think I'd like to do is have another meeting in October, and we can talk more about this, and especially about the groundbreaking and who's going to do what. And you, as far as I'm concerned, as I believe the committee agrees that, we want to support what you're doing there. And we think it's important that you do that and that you get to the right people and that you're part of this groundbreaking and all the other things associated with the Souhegan River Trail and the town center committee's work in general, which has been, there's not much left of the old town center. If you look at the pictures that were taken, that were supplied to us by the state in their study of this project, they had to bless off on this project that we're doing. And they gave us a lot of good material, which Dawn has to put up around in various places. I don't know where it's going to be yet, but anyway, you have the floor further if you wish. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Yeah.
pause.
Oh, pause. You paused. Okay. Yes. Oh, excuse me. I didn't even get to introduce your committee, and maybe
Yes, you did. You did.
I did. Okay.
Pat,
Okay.
if you don't mind sitting next to John and turning on that mic so it's on the record.
I only wanted to say two things. Believe it or not, regarding the Chamberlain Bridge, we just had an email from somebody in Chamberlain's family saying, I'm looking over the family history, and I discovered that members of my family lived in Merrimack.
Yeah.
And when I looked up the Chamberlain Bridge to see what she was talking about, it's the bridge next to the fire station. You're kidding. And I don't know if there's a sign on it that says Chamberlain Bridge, but there probably really should be. But out of the blue, somebody said, oh, should I join your historical society and learn about my family? Because they're buried in at least two of the graveyards, and I've been corrected every time I've brought it up. They're not cemeteries, they're graveyards. But her family's actually buried here, and she's thinking about coming out this way to learn about her family. That's
her,
the
is her
history.
surname Chamberlain?
No,
No.
I,
Yeah,
Oh,
John
okay.
had sent it back
I was
to
just
you.
wondering, yeah.
I,
Yeah.
thank you, Pat, for bringing that up. When you paused me, that's what I was heading to that about the
Okay.
Chamberlain Bridge.
Yeah,
I I have her email here that that she sent a while back, and her name is Jennifer McPeak Robinson.
yeah.
Her mother is a direct descendant of the Chamberlains, and yesterday when we were delivering some sessions to our new home, our new schoolhouse, she called me. And she called me from Illinois, and I had sent her an email that we would welcome her here, and she's coming, I think, October 16th, around 11 o'clock, and we're going to set up a tour for her at the museum and to any grave sites that her folks are buried in. We'll take her around, and if she needs any documentations, we'll provide her with that. But
Yeah.
we plan on doing videos with that too. So all of this, I can't believe all this happened. We met Arthur F. Rounds last month. This lady calls us. We've had this planned. You know, it's like when everything comes together.
It's all coming together.
John,
is, and-
John, I have a question and maybe a
Yes.
comment too. How did this woman who discovered her family was here, how did she discover that fact and then also reach out to you?
She found it on Ancestry.com, and I think there's a graveyard website.
And then she found the Historical Society online.
She went to Merrimack, she found our webpage, and she
Right.
called us.
I think that story is testament to how John has led the Historical Society these past couple years and his use of technology and social media. I think it's excellent.
Yeah,
And that shows that displays just how hard you've worked, John, and we've talked. I mean, you even got Chuck Mower to buy an iPhone, which is incredible. But there's been nothing but, and I'm sorry for including that personal anecdote, Chuck. But the work that they have done is just awesome. And on November 3rd, again, you know, we're gonna cover the ceremony, the groundbreaking ceremony in whole, and we're going to produce a shorter form Merrimack moment about that. Whatever John and his Historical Society wants to do in terms of covering a video, they're not stepping on our toes. I want to stress they're enhancing what we do anyway. And what they're doing at the Historical Society is great. And having partnered with them a couple times and going to their new facilities and hearing stories like the one that Pat just shared is awesome. And we want to see that. I really think they're connecting the present with history, which we haven't seen in a long time here in Merrimack. So it's good stuff.
that's good, and it'll lead hopefully to more preservation. I should tell you my little experience with the Sauhegan River Trail. This is a federally funded project, so a lot of people had to participate in the review of the design and the approval. And one of those elements is the State Historical Society. And they were the ones who provided these pictures that I told you of. They did a lot of research, and they probably have a lot more if you can find out who the contact person is. And I'm sure that Dawn has it, that she had some very interesting photographs of the mills that stood on this property and that we're looking at. And so we should not overlook what they've done and maybe make some contact with them. And maybe that's something you'd like to do, or I can get the further information for you if you want, John.
Excuse me, when I talked with Kyle Fox a couple of years ago, maybe even more than that, he gave me that document. That's the one I was talking about. I have it here. And there are really nice photos. When I said there was a was a third-party research done, and it was done by, I don't know if it's on here, doesn't matter, but Dawn has this document
Yeah.
with all the photos and everything.
Yeah.
But for me to reach out to them about a project the town's doing, that's when it comes working together, makes it easier for us to do research with like, well, we're trying to do a documentary for the town of Merrimack, and we're working with the town center committee.
Yeah.
And with that, we get some authority and confidence behind us, and it's easier to ask.
You've got it. Yeah.
So that's kind of what this is to develop a new relationship,
Good.
with you folks, and the video is just to give you an example of what we're doing, and I'd like to thank Nick for the compliments, but we work with him and his team quite a bit. We really
Yeah.
do. So
Good.
they give us a lot of good guidance,
Yeah.
Say, don't tell us all the good things we're doing. Tell us what we need to do to improve.
Okay.
And I have.
And they do that. They really do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Good. I should tell you one more thing. In my conversations with the state regarding this project, one thing came up that the Chamberlain Bridge is a red listed bridge, which means it's slated for replacement, removal, rehabilitation, perhaps. That it's on the list for it's on the governor's advisory committee 10-year plan, or I think something like 2035. They're going to redo that bridge. There are two options on the table that they're considering. One of them is replacing it with a modern style bridge, like steel beams, etc. Or the other is to refurbish it in some way that's historical. And you should be aware of this. This decision has not been made. The state favors the steel bridge because it is less expensive than trying to widen or somehow enhance the stone bridge that we have. So you got to be aware of this and attend all the hearings and advise our town council, because there's money involved, and sometimes that prevails. So I just wanted you to be aware of that. I'm just saying, it's
Thank
10
you.
years away.
yeah.
I probably won't be here.
Maybe yes either. But it's that's good to know, and that's progress. But I made a comment before that the taxpayers don't realize how much money that's been saved, because there's no maintenance done on stone arch bridges. They're there forever. And the example is in 1838 bridge, taking all the traffic through how many was,
Yeah.
stuff going up and
Yeah.
down to Boston on over that bridge, and you wouldn't know it. I think, Chuck-
Okay. Well, be ready. Be ready. Get your
yeah, Chuck
get your
Chuck come up, and I have a feeling he'd like to say something.
Oh, I'm sorry. Chuck, you're on.
Thank you very much. I am here to reinforce what a professional organization the Merrimack Historical Society is.
Mm-hmm.
It is a competent and professional business organization with a vision and a mission statement that will carry us well into the future. I'm very excited that this past spring we completed our executive team with the addition of Mrs. Heinrich as our executive secretary. and Pat comes to us, of course, well recommended from her personal experience in her career path, and of course, with her experience as school district clerk and as a secretary to the budget committee, and any number of years being familiar with the history and the development of Merrimack over time. And so we have now what we were lacking, as in so many towns, small organizations that are more social than business-like. We are different. We are trying to lead by example in that we believe many of the organizations across New Hampshire and perhaps even across New England who are finding it difficult in these contemporary days to practice what they once did successfully 50 years ago. And we are meeting that challenge, and I think exceeding even our expectations in how fast it has developed and been adopted. And yes, we are prepared to do business, and the business often is very boring, as Nelson wanted to point out from his long experience in community affairs. It is, and we are prepared to participate on that slow-paced, business-like level. We understand what takes time and what the various elements are to accomplish anything.
Okay.
Now, having said that, that's how we conduct our meetings. And I am blessed with having the easiest job at the Historical Society in that I get to give a history tidbit every month. So I get, 5 minutes if they'll tolerate me, or 10 minutes if they're really interested, of something that is unusual. And that's what's missing in an awful lot. The personal communication that gives people a better understanding, an improved outlook, a sense of place, an ability to participate in something that they're not familiar with or isn't particularly comfortable to participate with. So we get the best of both worlds. And the most important thing about history is that it gives us a window into the profound imagination of man. Anything we want to accomplish now or in the future has already been thought of at least a couple of times, and we can profit from that exploration into what has preceded us. Now, I'd like to tell you that there's a lot to say about Merrimack that we don't know. I am technically the town historian, and people watch these programs on TV and they go, oh, enough, can we watch something else? Or whatever it is they do, I don't know. But when they find something that's really interesting, like, holy smokes, these little tidbits are everywhere in our community.
Mm-hmm.
And it brings our attention to, I'd like to know more. And if you
Right.
want to know more, you can come to the Merrimack Historical Society. You can be a member. You can share in our benefits. You can share in our vision, all of those things. And so I know, Nelson, you've attended a few of our meetings, and you're a supporting member. That's terrific. Finley as well. We appreciate the support of everybody else, but the town center plan is focused on an area that used to be known as Riddle Village. Isaac Riddle was a very prominent businessman. I won't go into great detail about Isaac, but Buckley's Steakhouse was built by Isaac Riddle for the convenience of the proprietors of locks and canals and the mills that were there. He built the first mill per se. John Chamberlain had a grist mill and a sawmill. Along comes Isaac Riddle, and he wants to do business, and he builds a nail factory. And all of that's well and good, but his second wife's brother was one of the Indians at the Boston Tea Party. So while that may have happened ceremoniously in Boston and is well known, it's an indication that history happens simultaneously. It happens to everybody everywhere. And each of us has a story to tell that relates to the common development of all of us. And I thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you for your lecture, Doctor. We appreciate hearing it. It's just that we have gone over our time a little bit. We've got one more bit of business I'd like to conduct, that is the approval of minutes, so we can do that. And then I want to set a date, if we can find a date among us, for our next meeting that will be in October. Any thoughts on the minutes which were distributed? I have extra copies if you need them.
Just that Finley is with an A. That's the only.
Oh, that's terrible.
Oh,
How did
it's
this-
not terrible. It's just
Well,
what it is.
what's terrible is that it's probably in my computer that way. That's where it's got to be
It's
fixed.
the first time I've ever noticed it. So
Okay. All right. Okay, any motion
I'll
to
make the
approve those
motion.
minutes if you're happy with them?
I'll make the motion to approve minutes as amended by Finley.
Okay,
And I'll second.
and seconded by Karen. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain, Nelson.
Okay, Finley abstains. Now, the other thing is setting a time for, a date for our next event, at which time I hope we can talk more about the groundbreaking and what we want to do with that. Sometime around October 20 or 27. 27 is a week before the event. October 20 would be 2 weeks before. Let me put my calendar here. Any thoughts from the
I can do the 20th.
The 20th, I agree.
20th seems to be preferred. 20th, okay?
Yep.
I will advertise it and hope that I can get some contact with the people who weren't here and make sure it's okay with them. But so we'll put out a new notice, and you will be invited as well to that meeting and your committee, and we'll talk. One of the things that I want to cover at that time is how we're going to all participate in the groundbreaking. And did anybody ever get the name of the contractor? I don't.
Oh, I
have
probably
the-
did, but I don't remember.
I never got it, so that's okay. We'll get it in time. And so if everybody's okay with that, if anybody has anything else they'd like to bring up?
Just one real quick. Everything
Yeah.
I said about the location of that bridge, don't listen to it. It wasn't accurate. I had in my mind a bridge in a location that was the railroad crossing it. I thought there was a bridge right there. It's actually on Wilton Road, I think it's called, which turns into Main Street, Route 30. Is it 31?
It goes into Wilton.
Yes, that's
That-
where it's located. I sent you a link to
That's-
it, Nelson, just a little bit
Oh,
ago.
okay. Well, I'm not
So, in an
reading my
email.
email
No,
right now.
no,
But
but-
I'd say I was getting lost.
Yeah, well, I
And-
was lost too, obviously.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I,
because there's no other bridge, there's no other Sauhegan River crossing,
Right.
once you're in and I think that bridge is in Wilton, isn't it? Or
No, it isn't. That's Milford which I never realized either. I thought that was Wilton, that 31.
Yeah.
I thought Wilton began right at the Irving gas station, but this is on 31, just past the TD Bank, and the photograph that I saw was from the other angle.
I'll go check it out. I'll
Yeah, just
find
you
out
can-
where it is before.
It's a link to on Google Maps, so it'll be easy for you to find.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm all set.
Okay, thank you for that correction. Anything else anyone would like to bring up, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, if that's the wish of the board, of the committee. I should say, Karen is,
That we adjourn.
okay, and do we have a second for that? Nicholas seconds. All are in favor? We are adjourned. Okay. Green light.